The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was a miracle of its age, a political experiment that defied the currents of absolutism sweeping across Europe. While kings in France, Spain, and Russia tightened their grip on power, centralizing authority in gilded palaces and thundering decrees, the Commonwealth chose another path, one of shared rule, fierce debate, and noble liberty. It was a republic of kings and nobles, a vast arena where politics was not confined to a monarch's whispered counsel, but spilled into the open, thrashed out in public assemblies, tested in the fire of discourse. It was a state in which the voice of the citizen noble was sovereign, where the free election of kings and the intricate mechanisms of law created a unique, almost mythical form of democracy. And though time would conspire to erode its foundations for centuries, this noble republic stood as a beacon of self-rule, a monument to the idea that power, though fragile, is best wielded not by one, but by many. At the heart of this system was the Commonwealth's Parliament, a gathering of voices that wielded a power unmatched by any other legislature in Europe. Here, the affairs of state were not dictated by the whims of a single ruler, but determined through deliberation, negotiation, and often impassioned resistance. Every noble, be he a magnate with vast estates or a landless gentleman with little but his sword and his honor, possessed a voice in this great assembly. They came from all corners of the Commonwealth, from the banks of the Vistula to the steppes of Ukraine, bound not by wealth, but by the sacred principle of golden liberty, that none should rule over them without their consent. It was a system that, in its best moments, was a marvel of governance. Kings were elected, not born to rule. They were chosen by the nobility, their power tempered by the Pacta Conventa, a contract that bound them to uphold the laws and privileges of the realm. No ruler could impose his will unchecked. No decree could be issued without the approval of the Sejm. Even the most ambitious kings, like the formidable Stefan Batory or the brilliant John III Sobieski, had to navigate this intricate web of laws and liberties, ruling not as autocrats, but as first among equals, their authority tethered to the will of their subjects. Yet it was the principle of liberum veto that both defined and ultimately doomed this extraordinary system. It was the noblest of ideals, that any single noble, by virtue of his equal standing, could halt legislation if he deemed it harmful to the Commonwealth. It was a safeguard against tyranny, a weapon against oppression, but in time it became a dagger turned against the very heart of the state. What had been conceived as a means to ensure freedom became a tool for paralysis, exploited by foreign powers, wielded by the ambitious and the short-sighted, to bring the machinery of government to a standstill. What had been the Commonwealth's greatest strength, its fierce commitment to noble liberty, became its most tragic flaw. Yet, to dwell on its decline alone is to overlook the grandeur of what was achieved. For centuries, the Commonwealth stood as an oasis of political freedom in a continent where monarchs reigned supreme. It was a realm where ideas flourished, where political philosophy was not the domain of a hidden elite, but the shared treasure of an entire class. It was a place where, long before the Enlightenment, men debated the nature of power, the limits of authority, the responsibilities of the ruler, and the rights of the ruled. It was a democracy of nobles, yes, but within its bounds lay the seeds of a greater vision, one that would echo in the revolutions and constitutions of ages yet to come. Even in its twilight, the Commonwealth sought to reform. The Constitution of May 3, 1791 was one of the first modern constitutions in the world, a desperate yet brilliant attempt to salvage what could still be saved. It sought to curb the liberum veto, to strengthen the executive, to make the state whole again. But the world had grown crueler, the predators at its borders more ruthless. Russia, Prussia, and Austria, those great machines of absolutism, could not abide such an anomaly, such a defiant ember of liberty amidst their dominions. And so they conspired, partitioned, and erased the Commonwealth from the map. Yet they could not erase its legacy, for even as its lands were divided, its spirit endured. The dream of noble liberty, of elected kings, of a government bound by law and not by whim, these ideas did not perish. They smoldered in the hearts of those who would rise again in the uprisings and revolutions that sought to restore what had been lost. And when Poland was reborn in the 20th century, it did not look to the models of autocracy or empire. It looked to its own past, to the republic that had once flourished and found in it the foundation for its future. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was no perfect democracy, but it was a vision of what democracy could be. It was flawed and fragile, brilliant and doomed, a paradox of freedom and dysfunction. But it was, above all, an experiment in self-rule, a testament to the belief that power should be shared, not hoarded, that the will of the many should shape the fate of the state. And though it fell, its memory remains, a whisper of what was and a promise of what might yet be. Dziękuję. Like and subscribe if you think democracy is nice.